This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hey there, it's Michelle, and I want to help you to live an epic story lifestyle. I've put together a great checklist that will help you to pinpoint areas that will help you hack your own life for an epic story lifestyle. So go to epicstorylifestyle.com/live life to grab a free copy now.
Welcome back, Epic Story Livers, to your Epic Story Lifestyle show with your host, the one who cheers us up, who gives us insight, who makes us feel good, Michelle Spiva. How are you?
I'm fine, and I kind of like what you did there, Epic Story Livers. I like that. That's pretty cool.
It just came to me. We spent some time together now before we got on this call. My brain is just popping with ideas.
You guys, I make him do it. He's like the only one that will just listen to me and let me ramble on. It's therapy. But JR, I am excited to talk to you. It seems like forever.
It
since
feels
I
like
last
it.
got a chance to talk to you. I know, huh?
Yeah, I missed
So,
you. I missed my Michelle time. So what do you have in store for us today for our Michelle time?
Oh, yes. Okay, so if you're new, I write for a living full time. I write the romance. Yes, indeed, I write the romance novels. And I also teach people how to write romance books. And so recently I've been in that mode playing catch up to try to get some of my authors into the big time. And I wanted to bring that over into Epic Story Lifestyle because it's really, really important. So today, JR, I want to talk to you guys about how to write good.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, it matters. So okay, I just want to tell a little story real quick. That's kind of what I do for a living. And the story is this. I had to finish up a book this. Okay, so something you guys would know is sometimes we as authors put too much on our plates and we end up having to write a book very fast. And so I just released a book that I wrote in 8 days.
Whoa.
Yes, don't judge me. Don't judge me. So I wrote the book in 8 days. Now, I did, if I had to look at everything, it took me about 12 days to do everything. Plotting, writing, my poor editor, bless her heart, I need to give her a shout out. She was editing as I was writing, like chapter by chapter, so we could make our deadline. And miracle was accomplished. But the one thing she said when we got through, she was like, this is the best one yet. Because it's a series. And she said, this is the best one yet. And she says, and this is what she said. She said, you write good on cold medicine. That's what I really wanted to say today. I haven't been feeling well. And so I wrote this book on cold meds. I know, JR, it's horrible, but it's the truth.
Wow.
So she said, you write good on cold meds. And when I was talking to my students, they were like, we write and all of this, but what is that secret sauce that makes readers just die for your books? And it comes down to one of these things. You can't tell it all, but I'm going to tell a little bit today. And that is writing good. And when I say writing good, I'm talking about good feelings, good putting a little bit of you in the book or you in the communication. And it doesn't have to be a book. I'm not saying that you have to be a writer for this to work for you. As an epic story liver, I like that. When you communicate, when you try to be understood and understand, remove the distance that's between you and that person. And the way you do that is you show that you're invested. You show your feelings. JR, I'm going to talk about one of your faves,
Okay.
Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Influence Others. And one of the things that he said was, call people by their name. It is one of the sweetest sounds they'll ever hear. Well, there's something underneath that. And underneath it goes back to this. When you give association. And when you name something, you become associated with it. When you want to get close or do something well, you want to associate with it and become, in some instances, one with it. The best way to quote unquote call their name is to show them yours or show them who you are. So, like for me, when I am writing or when I'm even talking to you, like I'm talking to you right now, I told you some truths about having to write a story on cold medicine, about how it came about that I had to get this story out. I was vulnerable. I was honest. There was transparency. And I find, because I do have to talk a lot with people all the time, and I'm not saying that it is because of where we work, how we interact with people, but there seems to be some weird type of fad going on where people want to have as much distance from each other when they're trying to communicate as possible. And what it does is it works against you. It's as if you're trying to play chess and you're trying to use a long handle spoon to push your chess pieces around in how you engage with people. Sweet babies, that is not cute or real. That is only going to cause you to not get what you want. So with how to write or communicate good, you have to shorten that distance between you and the other person. So how do we do that? For one of the things I'll say for instance, you're communicating. Okay, so JR, I'm about to say something that is going to get this turned off.
Uh-oh.
I know it's going to happen already. Stop texting people and pick up the phone. I just and you can see it now. It's like what have we had texting around for, like what 8 years or so? I don't know the exact numbers, but that has been long enough for this perceived distance to be permissible. I remember when, and I might be telling my age, but I remember when texting first came out, and I looked at it and I was like, how can you communicate with this? And it was just, did that happen for you, JR? Because I was just like, how can this be a form of communication? And
I liked it.
I forgot I'm talking to a person with a Y chromosome. Okay, no, I'm not trying to slam my lovely man. But what I am saying is the way texting goes is it's what if you need to have a detailed conversation? Texting makes you simplify and encapsulate so much meaning, so much so that it can be lost in translation. So, for instance, if somebody says something to you and you respond back with some type of acronym, LOL, or I know, right? IKR, or whatever, that's totally permissible these days as a way to surmise what you wanted to say. But you take that same person that has the majority of their communication or their written skills via the format of text, and you put them in real life with someone. And JR, I'm talking about popcorn, because it is awkward, it is funny, and and they wonder why they cannot have meaningful relationships beyond Netflix and chill. It is just the most crazy thing. I know I'm mixing my stories here because I was going to leave this alone, but the last time we talked, I talked about going to a con where they dress up and everything.
Yeah.
And just, oh my gosh, watching these people interact with each other was excruciating, because the art of communicating well was sorely missing. I was like, well, why don't y'all just pull out your phones and talk? That would be easier, because this is painful. And it is because with writing, how to write good, how to communicate good, it means that there has to be a sub layer or subtext, if you want, of what you're trying to communicate. So what do I mean by that? I mean that Your words need to have meaning that matters. You can't just try to entertain. And I have found that the way people write stories, students that I work with, they try to keep this distance where they just want to entertain you. They don't want any skin in the game. They just want to entertain you. And the way people interact, they just want to entertain you. And sometimes they just want to push your buttons and get you to behave a certain way. No skin in the game. And then we wonder why we don't have friendships that endure. We don't get into the networking and the inner circles of people that actually can say they like us. And it is because of, and in the writing profession, we call it a narrative distance, where there's too much distance between the receiver and the giver. And I'm going to say, to write good, you got to get close. You got to put some skin in it. And you got to be able to convey some truth and meaning behind what you're saying. So I hope that I'm appealing to that part of you, dear listener, that would desire to have an epic story lifestyle that says, hey, I had a real conversation today with a stranger who became an associate at least. To me, that is miracle, where you can go and do that. Again, another quick story. I walk on a walking path over by my home. And of late, I have noticed that because it's getting warmer outside and everything, I have people coming out and they'll wave. And some of them I will clearly have on headsets and they'll wave me down. How you doing? I've been seeing you around. What's your name? My name is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, But then when I have conversation with them, I believe because I am forcing myself, JR, to write good, that I put stuff into it so that when I see them again, we have longer conversations. And that's just yesterday, it happened twice. I ran into a couple. This time they had their granddaughter with them and with their dogs. And the little baby, she kept coming and, playing with me. And the lady was like, she never does that. And I said, I think it is because of how you are receiving me. She's picking up on that this person is safe. And she said, I guess so. She said, but you're just one of the sweetest people. And when we talk to you, we always get a good laugh. And I knew it was because I didn't try to put distance. I didn't try to put that, oh, you're a stranger, so let me act cold and distant. And then the same with a new couple, young couple who's just moved into the area, and they were just getting back and I hadn't seen them in a while. So I waved and we talked and they were like, let us know next time you're walking, maybe we'll take that hill with you. There's a huge hill that's kind of famous around here that you walk in and it's like a third of a mile straight, 45-degree incline nonstop. Yes. I posted pictures of it on my Instagram because, I've been taking it, but it's been taking me too. And so, simple things like that. And it is because I think I was willing to say that hill wears me out. And they're like, oh, well, we walk it every day. We'll go with you. And so there is no narrative distance because they sense that I'm putting something in the game. I'm being vulnerable, real, and honest. And I'm not trying to put on airs or look perfect. And so to write good, to communicate good, is to be as authentic as possible without giving away too much. Does that make sense, JR?
Sometimes you just annoy me. You give me all these life tips and I'm like, God, I could really be a better person if I just did that.
Well, you know what? To your credit, I've never felt that you were doing anything other than what I've just discussed. I would say your communication skills, and I'll be happy to tell Rachel because I know it's her. I know all of your good qualities comes from your lovely wife.
Yeah, you're right.
Willing to tell her, thank you for giving him social skills.
She actually did.
Yeah, seriously though. So, but I do want to have I just want to take a little time for a muse moment. And in the muse moment, is this. And I don't have anything cute and pithy. I just want to say this, that it is old, but it is true. Whatever you want, baby, you got to give it first. It amazes me how people want fame, influence. We'll talk a little bit about that in some upcoming shows. They want love, adoration, praise, worship, even. They want friends. They want realness. I see people's comments, no game players, and you're the main one playing the game. Whatever it is you want, you have to first give it. And one of the best and fastest ways is learn how to write good. I mean, even if you still want to just have the majority of your conversations in text, say something real. Say something that, hey, consider using a full sentence and put some real stuff in it and see what happens. Well, at first you might shock the sugar out of the other person, but you never know. It might open up a brand new dynamic of your relationship and your interaction with that person. So I'm going to challenge you to whatever it is you want, give it first. If you want to be understood, loved, cherished, admired, befriended, be friendly, and learn how to communicate and write good. So how is that, JR?
Unfortunately, I'm growing on this show. As much as I resist it.
But you know what? The thing is this is stuff that most of us know. And for those few that don't, baby, I hope that this helps you. And I hope that you would be so willing to try it out and let us know how it works. Give us feedback. Put some reviews in there about, if this is some takeaway for you. Because I know for a lot of people, it's physically painful to do this. Not in the immediate shows we have coming up, but I'm going to be dealing with real life anxiety issues. I've been asked to deal with that, and I'm not in that headspace right now, but I'm going to be dealing with that, and we'll be circling back around to some of this stuff when we talk about it. So I just want you to know that these are little steps that you can take if this is not normal or comfortable, that if you just give some truth, realistic, don't always try to let your good side show as much. You can let it show, but let them see the bad side too. Those are some of the things. So with that, my time is getting short, and y'all, I love you little babies, but I gotta talk about me. So it's time to talk about me.
All right.
So JR, going back to this book I had to write, so it took 8 days to write it, 11 days to do all other stuff. It was crazy time. And I went back and I was looking at the book and I cringed because in that book, I went deeper than I've ever gone in a book before with what the characters were feeling and experiencing. And I remember going back to my editor and saying, is it too much? And so much so that I had to put a content warning on it that it may trigger emotions in people. And she was like, no, it's perfect. And so the book is out now and it's doing very well, actually. I'm very thankful and blessed about that. And it's being received very well. Now, I do know that there are first waves. I get that. And I know the crash is coming. But for the most part, being able to do what I'm asking others to do is very hard, but it's very needful. And so I'm not willing to ask anybody to do something I haven't. And for me, this writing good, it takes me into avenues and places that I wouldn't plan on. And therefore, it helps me to fulfill that spontaneity of depth that I think we all need to continue to feel the God spark of brilliance and life, that we need to be living to have this epic storied lifestyle, So this gets to go down in my annals of, remember that time when I was sick with an upper respiratory infection on antibiotics and cold meds, and I wrote a book in 8 days, and it was like freaking awesome. And I'm not saying that because I think it was awesome. I'm saying that because I got the experience and the experience was awesome. So that's what I have. That's what I wanted to say today.
So what do you have coming up for us next time, Michelle?
Okay. So I want to talk about get this, Uber, Lyft, all of these little companies that'll pick you up in like 5 minutes or less. I want to ask you guys, are you living an Uber life?
All right. I'm up for that. So that is a wrap for Michelle Spiva's Epic Story Lifestyle. We will see you on the next one. Thank you, Michelle, and thank you, listeners, for tuning in.
Yay. Bye. Hey, Michelle here. Look, my time is up, and I thank you for yours. But before you go, do me a solid. Head on over to iTunes, and in the search bar, type in Epic Story Lifestyle. And when you see me, hit that subscribe button. Oh, and if you got any questions, comments, or even show topics you'd like to hear me cover in the future, tell me about them in the wonderful reviews you leave. And as always, I want you to make sure you go out, make some great decisions that make your life an epic story lifestyle. Thanks. This is Michelle Spiva, and hey, I'll see you next time.
This is the podcastfactory.com.